Welcome, everybody, to Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean. Carolyn is amazing. She's a doctor, she's a naturopath, she's an herbalist, she's an acupuncturist. She's going to tell you exactly what she would do if she were in your shoes. I can't think of a person who has devoted more time to helping people's health than Dr. Carolyn Dean. She can make a huge difference as you listen to her words of wisdom. We know she's ahead of time because she is the doctor of the future. Welcome, Dr. Carolyn Dean.
Awesome. The children usher us in every week, and we love the children.
Yes, they've been celebrating you for a long time.
Right. And when we were just in the green room, we forgot, or I forgot to mention, Ginny, today is World Health Day. World Health Day.
Oh, wow. Well, how perfect is that? Well, then everybody's got the world's leading expert in magnesium and mineral supplementation for World Health Day. So I don't think it gets any better than that because we know how important magnesium is.
Right. Definitely. So there's a lot to talk about. Let's just dive in. World Health Day. We are World Health Day. We've been doing this for a long time. And what do we do first? Library.
Let me just say, since it is World Health Day, maybe, hello, everybody on X and also X around the world. We have global distributors all over the world, Carolyn. Maybe we should talk about them for a second, because I think you just did something with Naomi at Botanica Health and Sport in UK. Yeah.
Right. We did an Instagram Q&A. She collects questions from her customers and then I answer them. And that's fun. Naomi's doing a terrific job over there. Her father, I guess he's a medical doctor, but more a naturopathic type doctor. And she grew up in that tradition. So she's just carrying on what her dad did.
Yes. And her father's father actually started the shop in Kent, in the UK, in 18 something, very long time ago. It's a beautiful apothecary that has a rich tradition of a lot of healing and blessings. So that's very cool. We've got Lorraine up at True Health Canada. We have our distributors in the EU, emagnesium.com. And we have our distributors in China. Bobby Wang does a great job at Tmall and the TikTok Mall. And we have Ivar in Estonia, who's fantastic. We have so many great distributors and many others. We have great ones. Root of Health is in Singapore. They're another great distributor. So we've just got great people around the world that are helping us.
Australia, don't forget.
Oh, Narelle, yes, positivehealth.com.au. Yeah. Narelle has been with us forever. I mean, from the beginning. And so has Naomi. Naomi and Narelle are the award winners for having been there from the very first. And
and think of the apothecary you said began in the 1800s, and yet so open-minded to work with us and the latest in mineral technology, stabilized ions of minerals. And Naomi, she's been working for decades. She's seen health remedies come and go, and she sticks with our formulas because they work.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a wonderful association we have with her.
Yes. And all our distributors are really heartfelt, and they themselves are all health practitioners. We did not sell ourselves to some big conglomerate that was going to peddle Remag and push it out. We wanted to work with people who were esoteric and traditional naturopathic MDs and practitioners, and who supported your work and adapted your protocols. So we just have such glorious people who are representing us in World Health Day all around the world.
Yeah, very good. Perfect. Unscripted, right, Ginny? Totally unscripted.
Woohoo!
Okay, so we go to the library. We're still emphasizing the magnesium, the missing link to total health, and yeah, you see it backwards. I don't know. I mean, how do I get it to go frontwise? But that's go ahead.
I don't know, but it's the book should be up there. Magnesium, the missing link to total health. There we go. Yeah, it's on the right way on the graphic. We're such novices, Carol.
Yeah. Oh, but actually, the blog this week is heart health, and when you look up on Amazon, it's a Kindle book that you can download for a couple of dollars, and it's got nearly 500 positive reviews, Jenny.
Yeah.
This is a book that we don't even really advertise, but
Right.
people have bumped into it and they love it. So I'm jumping right to the blog. I don't know. It's a long piece. It gives a good overview of the book, but heart health is so important. And I've talked about it a little bit in previous shows that what's happened to the hearts of the population with the COVID infection and the COVID jab, the spike protein that was genetically, I think, introduced into the COVID virus. And I don't know if that's true. Spike protein may be natural, but somehow it was accentuated and then put into the jab. It is affecting tissues throughout the body, and heart being one of them. So we're really keen on people learning more about heart health and using the dietary supplements like magnesium and vitamin C, omega-3s, and vitamin D to support heart health. So in this article, which is at drcarolyndean.com, I just go over some information about how people get into problems with their hearts. You can have triggers to heart problems. In the book, I listed 33 triggers to atrial fibrillation. And that sounds really extreme. And to me, it means, well, the heart rhythm doesn't sort of naturally go amok. It's triggered to go amok. And if you have these triggers and you can pull them away, then you can support your heart, as well as using the dietary supplements I talked about: magnesium, vitamin C, omega-3s, and vitamin D. So hypoglycemia can be a trigger. When your blood sugar drops, adrenaline comes out to push the blood sugar out of your liver storage and allow your blood sugar to rise. But that adrenaline is also going to pump your heart. And in people who have maybe a tendency to atrial fibrillation because of magnesium deficiency, that may trigger an irregular rhythm. So keep your blood sugar balanced. And that means, to a large degree, stop eating sugar, which will drive your sugar up and then crash you down. Stress burns magnesium and can trigger AFib. Calcium, women especially who are told they have to take calcium for their bones that are softening, which is not true. If you take calcium as a supplement in the dosages that are prescribed in North America, 1,200 to 1,500 milligrams, you're going to overdose on calcium and cause calcium to build up in soft tissues. And calcium will kind of neutralize magnesium. And that means a magnesium deficiency heart arrhythmia can evolve. Hydration is important to keep the proper blood circulation. And what's happening in in my age group is people aren't drinking enough water because you don't want to be running to the bathroom. And so people just they just stop drinking water, and that actually can cause blood clots because your blood is thick because it's not you don't have enough water volume. And the reason why people will say, or doctors will say, reduce your water intake for your high blood pressure and your edema. If you've got ankle edema, all that can mean that you don't have enough minerals in your cells to pull water in and do your biochemical work. If you have taken enough water and enough minerals, then you have less edema. You actually don't go to the bathroom as much, and your body is hydrated, and you can have less blood clots just from simple hydration. Hydration guidelines: take your body weight in pounds, divide that in half, and then drink that many ounces of water a day. So 100 pounds, cut that in half, 50 ounces of water a day. And in each liter, 32 ounces, put a quarter teaspoon of sea salt. And drink your 50 ounces. And of course, magnesium deficiency. I've just done those 5 of the 33 triggers. When your magnesium is deficient, then your whole electrolyte balance is off. And calcium causes the action of the heart, and it doesn't have enough magnesium to relax the heart muscle and pull the calcium out of the heart cells. So I think that's all I'll say. It's a good article. You can send it around to friends and family. Oh, I didn't mention the methylated B vitamins I have on my list here as well. What the methyl groups in the B vitamins, B12, B6, folate, they break down and eliminate homocysteine, which is detrimental to heart health. So that's why the Bs are important. So back to you, Ginny.
I just want to say that was a great tactical rundown of the things that you wrote in your blog. But the thing that kind of stuck with me, because I always try to listen to the show as if I'm hearing it for the first time, is what do you mean you don't have to take calcium for your softening bones? People who are hearing that for the first time must think, what is she talking about?
Right. Yeah, I'm big on bones right now because I'm putting together my PowerPoint for my next talk in Wailea. I'm doing monthly public talks. First time here in 18 years I've gone public, and it's a lot of fun. There are a lot of wonderful people here. So the bones need calcium. Okay, fine. The hard structural part of the bones needs minerals, calcium, phosphorus, and another dozen or so minerals. And they hardly mention magnesium in the bone, because what they've done there is they'll take bone, burn it, and then collect the ash and determine how the amount of each different mineral in the bone. And magnesium burns. It's not going to be in the ash. So they decided that they didn't even think about magnesium in the bones. But what magnesium does is it's part of the soft tissue scaffolding, the part of the bone that kind of makes it elastic and, a little malleable. Kids have such soft bones, they'll fall all the time and not break things. But in the elderly, you can fall and shatter a bone because you don't have that elasticity, which comes from vitamin C and magnesium. So those are the 2 huge things for bones. That describes it. There are studies that talk about the importance of magnesium for the bones, but it's never translated to clinical practice. And most doctors, they're still thinking magnesium is a laxative. They don't know how important it is. So does that kind of explain the bones, or should I go further?
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay. So
Yeah.
what's next, Jenny?
Well, after this, we usually talk about making America healthy again. And we've done our 14-part talking points. The staff went through and looked at your entire career, 50 years of everything that you've talked about and written about, and align that with the talking points of the Make America Healthy agenda. And we know it's a big job. We know it's not going to happen overnight, but we know you've already been doing it and you've got a lot to say about it. And you've also got some solutions where people can start today. You don't have to wait for legislation to change for you to change, right? So today is our last installation of this segment, and it is about critique and reform of conventional dietary guidelines.
Yeah. So yes, I wrote some words in a nice brochure that Jenny put together, and the summary was criticizing mainstream dietary standards, especially those influenced by sugar and processed food industries, while advocating for whole foods, nutrient-dense diets, and balanced nutrition. So that's the theme of number 14 in the MAHA 14 points. The focus is on educating the public on the shortcomings of conventional dietary advice, promoting low sugar diets, and supporting regenerative agriculture, which is what I do on the farm here, Ocoa Farms, biodynamic organic farming, and non-GMO practices for a healthier food supply. And in this point 14, the books that were referenced were my sugar book. It's called Sugar Without the Icing, my Total Body Reset for Type 2 Diabetes, my heart health book, and Death by Modern Medicine. So that's where Ginny says that the staff, and with using AI, they went through all my material and put together my recommendations. Now, the 2000 to 2005 dietary guidelines. Oh no, it's 2020 to 2025, I'm pretty sure. What do they say? They say vegetables 3 to 5 servings, fruits 2 to 4 servings, dairy 2 to 3 servings, meat and beans 2 to 3 servings. And yeah, I won't go into detail. Maybe one of these days we'll talk more about diet, but the dietary guidelines, what I went into was, what do they recommend for sugar intake? And they advise that added sugars should comprise less than 10% of daily calories. So on a 2,000 calorie diet, a person should have no more, Ginny, get this, than 12 teaspoons of added sugar a day. Let me tell you about sugar in the bloodstream. At any one time, and I did the math on this and found that at any one time in the body, there's about 2 teaspoons of sugar, glucose sugar, riding around, going into cells, doing its work. 12 teaspoons of sugar. You can get that in a milkshake. You can get 10 teaspoons in a soda. So I guess they're thinking, well, people can have a soda, why not? But they don't look at the biochemistry. And if you're doing that several times a day, or even just daily, you're putting a hit on your pancreas. You're asking the pancreas to rush out a whole whack of insulin to get rid of that sugar, because you can't have that much sugar flailing about in the body. It causes side effects when it builds up in soft tissues, but that's a whole other conversation. So they're not telling people to not take sugar. They're allowing them to take 12 teaspoons. Then I asked, what do they specify for the consumption of ultra-processed foods? They don't even consider it. And what about salt? So the guidelines for Americans recommend that you have a very low intake of salt, a quarter teaspoon a day, it turns out. Now, I'm telling people take a quarter teaspoon in every liter of water a day, and you could be drinking 2 or 3, maybe even 4 liters. And it used to be that our salt intake was about 5,000 milligrams. I think they've really been cutting that back. They're looking at blood pressure and, oh my gosh, salt is really dangerous for the kidneys if you've got kidney disease. They're talking about table salt. They're not talking about sea salt. Sea salt has less of the sodium chloride. It has all another 70 or so minerals. So sea salt is what I'm talking about when you're drinking your sea salted water. So the salt guidelines are all over the map. They don't even give accurate amounts when you do a search on how the RDA for salt intake or the daily requirements. There's all kinds of different answers. So salt, just stick with the guidelines that, well, you can stick with my guidelines. I think that's the healthy way to go. But then with diet, what is one of the most chronic health problems, or a health problem that leads to drug intervention that then leads to more chronic problems? It's cholesterol. And what have we been told over the years? That, oh, you can't eat butter, you can't eat natural fats, et cetera, bacon, stop with the bacon. But they don't tell us that the dietary input into your body of cholesterol, the amount of cholesterol in your bloodstream that's affected by diet is only 20%. 80% of your cholesterol is handmade in your body. You make your own cholesterol. And you make your cholesterol to have certain functions, certain, very beneficial functions, makes hormones, for Pete's sakes. So what happens in the creation of cholesterol, there's an enzyme, HMG-CoA reductase, that is manipulated by magnesium. If the body needs more cholesterol to do its work, then it will work with magnesium, or magnesium will allow the enzyme to work. If the body's trying to reduce the cholesterol, then magnesium won't work with HMG-CoA reductase. What do statins do? They kill that enzyme. They just outright obliterate it. So there's no balancing, according to the needs of the body. So that's where we get into trouble with the statins. And what's interesting to me, Ginny, is that just this past weekend, when I was getting ready for the show, I finally saw that the public might be starting to open their eyes to what big medicine, big pharma, and big food are doing. When I listened to Megyn Kelly, a well-known podcaster, she interviewed a doctor about the dangers of statins. It's
Oh,
a podcast now.
how fantastic.
Yeah. And I've seen several now. I don't know if Joe Rogan has interviewed people. I think he has. So people are finding out, they've got their glass in one hand, their pill bottle, they're about to take their statin, and they're listening to this podcast about how it's never reduced the death rate. It doesn't help you live longer.
Correct.
It's got a lot of side effects that are being covered up. And yet doctors think that because it's the only thing that they have to work with, they think everybody should be taking it. There was a time, Jenny, when they said we should put statins in the water supply.
Oh my God.
It is so important to keep that
Wow.
bad cholesterol down.
Wow.
And then Callie Means, he and his sister have written, oh gosh, what's the book? Oh yeah, Good Energy. It's like it's like a kindergarten version of my book, Death by Modern Medicine, where they talk about all the bad things in big pharma. Cali means he was a lobbyist in Washington for drug companies, and his sister was in medicine, and she didn't even go into practice. I think she quit her residency because she was just so upset with the way she would have to treat her patients, using drugs constantly. So Cali Means was on Politico, had some conference, and they had a lot of it was mostly reporters, I think. I'm not quite sure, but he was being interviewed. The interviewer was trying to attack him on what Bobby Kennedy wanted to do and everything. And the crowd was kind of hissing at him and laughing. And he several times just said, I cannot believe that you people are laughing at the fact that Bobby Kennedy wants to make your children healthier. Where are you, where is your concern, compassion? When are you going to take care of the health in the world on World Health Day? Yeah. So I saw those two things, and there's more and more information out there that I think more people are getting. So yeah, Callie was saying we've got the sickest children in the world. And Bobby Kennedy is trying to take out the red food dye and this and that. Oh, even Patrick Bet-David, he had someone on who, they were going through the ingredients in junk food, all the chemicals and everything. And anyway, I think that the information is getting out there. And yeah, in the past, people would criticize, well, me and people who were trying to take care of their health. They call them health nuts. But that's what we have to not be intimidated by people who are attacking us for our health concerns, because there's enough information out there now at the highest levels to show that we have been bamboozled and been fed the wrong information and fed the wrong food.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very true. And also, people are starting to realize just because they don't feel good, and they're asking, why don't I feel good? Why does my body ache? I don't remember my mother's body aching like this. My father, they were vital, they were alive, they were moving. I feel like I don't even want to get off the couch some days. Right. And they're wondering what's slowing them down, what's hemming them up. Why do I have back pain? I mean, that's one of the biggest complaints of statin users ever is back pain. Right. And so these things are happening, and people are actually starting to challenge it because they're thinking maybe I don't need to feel bad. And that's really cool too.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So what's next? Do you have any questions from our wonderful listeners?
Well, Michelle's asking, is it true that older people require higher levels of cholesterol?
I don't think so. I mean, that's not a question I've contemplated before. I mean, the whole thing about cholesterol is, I've said it 100 times. When I was in med school, the average cholesterol was like 250. And now they're trying to tell people they should be at 180. And they're trying to tell people cholesterol is a bad guy. It's found in artery plaques and all the rest of it. But I've said many times in my heart health book, I talk about cholesterol puts a Band-Aid on a little tear in the arteries. The tear in the arteries comes because your collagen is weak, because you don't have enough vitamin C. So you have to take high dose vitamin C. I'm telling people that I take 10,000 milligrams a day to support my collagen. And collagen is, for your skin, for, just keeping everything fluid. So with cholesterol, it's used as a Band-Aid. It's like an antioxidant. It's important for the immune system and all the rest of it. And in terms of elderly people needing more cholesterol, what they need is probably just more magnesium to keep their cholesterol in balance. They talk about, as we age, we get all these symptoms, and we probably need more nutrients. Maybe they're less absorbed or whatever. We just need more nutrients, but it's a time when people just don't want to, like I said, drink water and swallow their dietary supplements. Our minerals are in liquid form, so that makes it real easy. And our vitamin C, we have capsules, but we also have a powder, and people can put that in their mineral water and sip it and drink it through the day, and it tastes just great. So where are we going next, Ginny?
I think we want to talk about customer comments.
Oh, right. Yeah, we have a few things here. Okay, this testimonial, Ginny, it describes what we want to accomplish with our podcast. This is what we're doing. So one of our customers says, "Good morning. Last night's podcast was amazing. Just wanted to send a personal note. My grandma deals with basically everything you discussed. Sugar-free foods, so that's the aspartame sweetened, synthetic aspartame sweetened foods. She deals with heart disease, arthritis, and she's had one heart attack earlier in this year. Not knowing what you both shared, I'm now knowing what you both shared, I'm going to up her vitamin C and magnesium and keep her away from all artificial sweeteners and ensure, ENSURE. I had no idea about it being that terrible. It was also just crazy to hear about Ozempic and all the ways it's described as a heart medication. Definitely was an eye-opening last night. Just wanted to say thanks to you both, and I'm looking forward to next week. Also, I really love the format, being able to see you both, and even Dr. Dean going over her 3-pound weight routine. So completely true. I use 5-pound weights, and I walk roughly 8,000 to 10,000 steps, which is about the 4 miles she does on the beach. Yeah, I've got a lot of comments about me showing off my muscles last week. It was probably kind of silly, but cute, And then our listener customer finishes with this statement. It's so true how much they try to poison us with ongoing medication at an early age. Grateful for truth tellers like Ginny and Dr. Carolyn. You both are the best. Okay, so I looked up Ensure. The ingredients are milk and soy protein. Most elderly adults cannot digest milk, and most of the soy in America is genetically engineered. Okay, they have synthetic B vitamins in the formula. They're not food-based, not methylated like ours are. They have vitamin D, 320 international units, where we're finding you need about 5,000 units according to blood testing that I've done and our customers have done. Iron is in the formula, and it is not a good idea for the elderly because it does build up and it blocks copper. Iron I think it's a main mineral that is really well recycled in the body, so it's not thought to be needed as a dietary supplement except in pregnancy. And then the magnesium, they don't even put the amount of magnesium. They say it's 20% of the RDA, which means about 65 milligrams, where you really should be taking about 600 milligrams a day. And then the other ingredients, I've mentioned the vitamins and minerals. It's water, corn maltodextrin, a sugar, and then there's a comma, and then there's sugar, and there's 20 grams of sugar, which is 5 teaspoons. And like I said earlier, there's only 2 teaspoons in the blood. So they're probably causing diabetes in these poor people. There's the milk protein, vegetable oils. So there's our inflammatory omega-6, corn and soy, vegetable oils, the soy protein I mentioned. They've got red dye in there for some reason, and natural and artificial flavors, and carrageenan and cellulose gum just as thickeners. And soy protein itself, beyond being genetically engineered, it's undigestible. Fermented soy is the only form of soy that really a person should take. Soy is used, as far as I've heard, when I did all my Chinese herbal medicine classes, it's used as animal feed in Asia. They just ate fermented. So, what do you think of that, Ginny?
I think Michelle on our chat line summed it up, because she said, "What a terrible product! It sure is junk." And it is. It is. It's very sad to think that people are guzzling it down by the gallons, and thinking that they're doing something beneficial for themselves. That's from our lovely Angela, who sent us that testimonial, and I sent her a complimentary bag of Restructure.
Oh, wonderful.
To share with her grandma. I'm so excited. And she sent me a picture already and showed me that they had gotten it. So such beautiful people, and so wonderful to be able to bring this information. But to your point, Carolyn, this is what we're here for, is to educate the public about what's going on, what they're putting in their bodies, and what they, need to do in order to be healthy, and just make that slight switch from taking Ensure to using Restructure is going to change her grandma's whole cellular composition. Right? I mean, and that can't be understated.
Yeah, that was one little show we did last week. Boom, we changed somebody's life, and probably many, many more. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
There's a couple more. There's a 5-star review on Amazon. Someone says this product is amazing. They're talking about our magnesium. They said, I can't take regular magnesium without having stomach issues, by which they mean diarrhea. But my body can process this. Start small, work your way up. Read the book, The Magnesium Miracle by Dr. Carolyn Dean, who created this product. Your body will thank you. And then another report from a customer. So this is from one of our wonderful customer service people, Alethea. And our customer wrote to Alethea to thank her for being so helpful with a question. And then she tells her story. She says, "Thank you so much, Alethea. After one of my cardiac surgeries, which was at 12 hours, it was on a Friday, and they wanted to do a second surgery for AFib. I went and looked at my records online, and I saw the doctors were checking my labs for magnesium. So I asked my family to bring over my magnesium and my multiple mineral, our picometer stabilized minerals, and I took them on Saturday and Sunday. By Monday, I was out of AFib and able to go home. I did not need the second surgery. Now, let me tell you, when you have surgery, you drain your magnesium. If they're not putting magnesium in your IV, your body's drained of magnesium, and a high percentage of people come out of surgery with AFib. And then they want to do an ablation or something. Oh my gosh, let's ablate her instead of giving you magnesium. It's shocking. She said, I showed my MD your products. He's head of the department. He seemed quite impressed because it worked. We'll see if he uses it, though. So she continues, many MDs, even cardiologists, are not strong on introducing natural products to patients and rely on big pharma treatments. Thank you for your help. I'm trying something. Oh, she was talking to Alethea about getting a special bundle. And I'm sure we'll be able to do that for her. So there we are. I'm going to jump helpful hacks because we're running low on time. If that's okay with you, Ginny. I mean, we talk about my weights and maybe I'll just tell people, oh, here's a helpful hack. Put your sneakers on one at a time. Just stand in the middle of your patio and lift your foot up and put your sneaker on. See if you can do that. Balance on one foot. You have to keep your mobility and agility by putting your underwear on, standing in the middle of the room, and your jeans and everything. Do these simple things. Run up and down or walk up and down the stairs to exercise your knees. Do not give up if your knees start to ache. Take our picometer calcium if you're not taking enough calcium-rich foods, et cetera, et cetera. So that's just a quick hack. But now I have my articles to go over. But do you have questions first, Ginny?
I do. I have a couple common questions, so we're going to include them, Carolyn, if that's all right with you. And the first one is, how do you feel about taking a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and a small glass of water before a meal to improve digestion?
It's a long time remedy. It's an old timey remedy, I should say. Of course I've tried it over the years, but it kind of maybe I have enough stomach acid. It made me feel a little acidic, but people can try it and see if it helps. It can be very helpful, especially if it's a properly fermented apple cider vinegar, organic on the label.
Very good. Excellent. And also, Shirley says, for a borderline, very low normal weight, 68-year-old, is it okay to eat as many seeds and nuts as I desire, even double or triple, just a quarter cup a day?
I can't see anything wrong with that. If they get a little hard to digest, which just means your stomach is a bit grumbly, some people would say you could roast them, and that helps with their digestibility. Just putting them on a tray in the oven, and I guess it would be like a 20 minutes at 320 degrees, but you can look that up. I would think about roasting them.
Okay, very good. Excellent. And also, our regular crowd is here in full swing and commenting on the show that they are absolutely loving it. Kudos to Dr. Dean and team for this podcast. So thank you again, Carolyn, for taking, because, not every doctor gets on a podcast for an hour every week and just talks to people like they're human and normal. And, it's unheard of, really, actually. I think even a lot of the podcasting doctors are kind of, I don't know, what's the word when you kind of look down at people?
Patronizing.
Yeah, patronizing. Yeah.
Well, actually, when you say that, Ginny, what I'm thinking is we have our customers who we love, and we know so many of them personally. They've been with us a long time. So we're having a conversation with our customers. We're not just kind of throwing information, throwing noodles against the wall and see what sticks. We are interacting with our customers and answering their questions. So I think that makes it different.
Yes, I agree. Okay, very good. All right, let's press on with the topics you'd like to talk about.
Okay. Wow, we chewed up 3/4 of the program. Okay. This is an article, what's in the new ACS guidelines. So, has anyone heard of ACS? It stands for acute coronary syndromes. And I wondered what's going on here. So what they've done is renamed heart attack, angina, and heart attack, and call it acute coronary syndromes. I don't know why they do this. They do this with a lot of health conditions, is rename them. Maybe because they're not having an effect with the heart attacks. They're not stopping them. So they just switch over to another name. And they talk about unstable angina, heart attacks without signs of EKG, but with elevated enzymes, or a heart attack without signs of EKG. And some of these are magnesium deficiency heart attacks. And of course, they don't designate that. But the statistics are that every year, more than 800,000 people in the United States experience a heart attack. And these new guidelines that they've just put out, they do not include magnesium, vitamin C, potassium, omega-3s, vitamin D, vitamin E, all the nutrients for a healthy heart that I talk about. Their main update is they've introduced 2 new blood thinners, high-intensity statin therapy, and another cholesterol-lowering drug group. One is called Zetia, Zetia, to reduce the amount of cholesterol absorbed from the intestines into the bloodstream. Like I said earlier, only 20% of your cholesterol comes from your diet. So they're throwing in a drug to, I don't know, allow you to eat all the cholesterol foods you want. It's just crazy. It's just to give people more prescriptions. And this introducing a second type of statin drug, it's because the statins aren't working, so we'll just add another drug that probably won't work. And the new ACS guidelines, they saved this for their culmination of, and we're also introducing the GLP-1 agonists like Ozempic. This is now part of your heart disease treatment. So Ginny talks about Greg's father, who was on a whole blister pack of drugs. They would be putting him on Ozempic because you want the blood pressure, the statins, the cholesterol, statin drugs, and then Ozempic. So that's their guidelines. This is what they've come to, and nothing about the nutrients. So, and here's another clown study. They're talking about coronary plaques reined in with the coronary calcium scans. 25 years ago, I was talking about coronary calcium scans and what's going on here. Yeah, people are building up calcium in their arteries. They should be taking magnesium to solubilize the calcium in soft tissue. But no, they'll never go there. So what they've done in this study, they say, equipped with knowledge of their coronary artery calcium scan results and a statin prescription, patients were more likely to slow their plaque progression over 3 years. It didn't get rid of it. No treatment, they slowed the progression. The trial studied people at intermediary risk who had a family history. And of course, they say another trial is needed to prove reductions in cardiovascular events. They didn't even say it helped people to directly support a coronary artery calcium informed strategy. So they say researchers found a way to implement coronary artery calcium scores. They didn't have any use for this scan. Like I said, 25 years ago, this is going nowhere. So they finally squeezed out some results at great cost over a 3-year study it slows the progression of this calcium buildup. We have had customers, and the FDA won't let me say this, but I'm going to say it, Ginny. We have had customers who, especially with carotid arteries, because they're easier to assess and access with ultrasound, the calcium buildup in the coronary arteries decreases if you're taking nutrients. And so, they found a way to make use of this scan, create the disease, and offer the cure. So this coronary artery test, let's look at that. It's a CT scan that shows calcium deposits with higher amounts of calcium in the arteries, suggesting more severe disease. I don't know the last time I talked about X-ray radiation. I don't even know if I ever have. Ginny will let me know because she likes to find new things that I say every week. So I might have talked about it around the topic of using thermography instead of mammography. Thermography assesses the temperature of a growing breast cancer tumor versus using X-ray mammography. Radiation is ionizing and accumulative. It doesn't accumulate the radiation. It doesn't stay in the body, but the damage is accumulative. You get an X-ray, damages your DNA. Get another one, a little more damage, and it causes permanent alterations in DNA. And in a medical mincing of words, doctors will say that radiation does not accumulate in the body, but they don't say what does accumulate is the cumulative damage to DNA that does occur. I'll say it again if I need to, but seriously, X-ray radiation is nothing to be trifled with. The radiation dose from a single CAT scan for coronary artery calcium is not standardized and varies more than tenfold, with a range of 0.8 to 10.5, I think it's millisieverts, depending on the protocol. Okay, a chest X-ray gives you a dose of 0.1. This coronary CAT scan, 0.8 to 10.5. So this coronary scan gives you 8 times to 100 times more radiation than a chest X-ray. Then the article mentions that there was no difference in calcified plaque volume between the two groups they studied, the one that got the statins and the one that didn't, but they still suggest that non-invasive coronary artery calcium testing may benefit patients. Let me remind you, this test is invasive. They say it's a safe, non-invasive test. It's invasive. And then an editorial about the study highlighted the upstream coronary artery calcium score test, followed by targeted interventions in those with evidence of disease as an approach that achieved near universal statin initiation and high adherence. So they're using the score to scare people into taking the statin. Oh, you've got all this calcium in your arteries. Let me give you this drug. It may help. We don't think it will help, but let's just take the drug anyway. So, I mean, that's what's happening with all the extra and excess heart disease now. They've developed these expensive diagnostic tests and expensive drugs. Ozempic is $1,000 a week for the Ozempic injection. So there. What do you say, Ginny?
Well, you knocked it out of the park again. And I think anybody who's had a CT scan recently or going to think about getting one is going to have to reconsider, because unless you're on the verge of some kind of epic dire event, why? Why would you do that to yourself, right?
Yeah. When you do a medical test, the question has to be asked, is this going to change my therapy, my treatment protocol? Is it going to change what I'm, if you were decided I'm never going to take a statin, why take the test? Just do the, do the magnesium, do the things that will help. But if a diagnostic test is not going to change your treatment protocol, then why spend the money on the test?
Right. And expose yourself to the risk, the dyes, the radiation, etc., and the stress.
Yeah.
And then the bamboozlement at the end, when they come in with their bamboozlement and try to tell you all the things that they think they know about you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the things.
All the things they know that you couldn't possibly know because they're so smart.
Yeah.
Okay. Vicki Wade said, When I was in the hospital, they were hesitant about giving me any magnesium when I had AFib. The nurse was stingy and would only give me one IV, but that one IV did help me. Because I had read your books, I asked for it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have given it to me. Thank you, Dr. Dean, for your knowledge.
Wow.
Yay.
Very good. Yeah. Yeah. And like layering on an onion, you just peel the layers, and that nurse, if another couple of people say, look, I want magnesium, they will start waking up. They have to.
Yeah, they have to. They have to. Or we will avoid them altogether.
Yeah.
They'll be over in a little corner of the room by themselves, injecting and doing these things to themselves. And we'll all be over here doing something fun like rollerblading or something that you do when you're healthy and you're not afraid of falling.
Right. Right.
It's incredible, right? Okay. We've got 5 minutes left. What do you want to do?
Let me do this quick one. I don't think I have much here. It's the Medscape article is Polypharmacy in Psychiatry. Good, bad, or just unavoidable. And, it's amazing the way they're playing with these drugs. It's like they've made the population think that drug side effects are acceptable or unavoidable, and then they just go full tilt with the drugs. Although most clinicians instinctively try to avoid prescribing multiple medications concurrently, the article says, there is evidence that polypharmacy is increasing. Some estimates suggest up to 65% of U.S. adults aged 65 or older experience polypharmacy, which is, I think, taking 5 drugs, 5 or more medications is a definition of polypharmacy. And these drugs, I mean, a drug will be tested on its own for side effects, and most of the side effects will be covered up, but you never test 2 drugs together, or 3 or 4 or 5. So the interactions can be just huge, humongous. So the question of polypharmacy in psychiatry, because apparently they do tend to give a lot of different medications, because you give a medication, like there's a medication that you can give that causes people to have twitches, and then they have to give a drug for the twitching. And the twitching can be a magnesium deficiency. So this article droned on to the tune of 1,200 words about this topic. One genius said that it's not about risks versus benefits, but risks and benefits. So there you go. When I was in med school in the mid-70s, we were told give drugs as short time as possible to not incur side effects. The potential risks start to multiply as more and more medicines are piled on. So the title of this guy, he's a pharmacoepidemiologist and co-director of the Center for Drug Safety and Effectiveness at Johns Hopkins. He says, it's about the risks and the benefits. So there's no point in wasting time going over this article. Of course, people are suffering from polypharmacy as medicine has lost its way and accepts the risks of medication on behalf of patients, but doctors don't really tell people about the risks, and patients still have a sense of trust in their doctors that they wouldn't give them a drug that was going to cause them harm. And of course, what we'd recommend is having people rely more on good nutrition and dietary supplements that work. Case closed, Ginny. There's Jenny.
Here I am. That's right. And also something that you always point out, which is the inherent intelligence of the body. It can correct itself if you get out of its way. And that's the point about giving the building blocks. If you want to learn more about how to correct your own health and get out of your body's intelligent way, check out drcarolyndean.com. drcarolyndean.com is the website. All of her writing, a lot of her books, many of her podcasts, past performances here on this podcast, and other interviews that she's been on can all be found there. If you're interested in these fascinating formulas that she's talked about tonight, you can visit rnareset.com. where we don't make any disease claims or do any thing that the FTC and the FDA do not care for, but we certainly do recommend that you enjoy the formulas. And then after you feel better, you probably want your pets to feel better, and you can hop over to Pico Pets and help them out too, because everybody loves their animals and wants them to benefit and prosper. And, they are struggling under non-native EMF. I see a lot of times in people's homes that the animal beds are right by the Wi-Fi. The pets are eating toxic food just like we are. They're caged inside during the day. They don't get outside the ground. They're not in the fresh sun. I make every one of my pets, including that little Miss B, get her butt outside first thing in the morning and get some sunlight. So, you've got to think about your pets too in this equation. So we're so happy, Carolyn, that you're here every week with us. What would you like to say as your parting comments?
Oh my gosh. I'm just having fun doing this.
Oh,
Yeah. Ginny wanted me to do the video for a long time. And I thought, well, people will be staring at us more, looking at, well, what's she wearing? What's she doing, rather than listening. But what we're doing now with the help of Sheila, our designer, we've got the slides with the help of Rachel, our producer. She clicks up the slides so people can look at the slides and not just stare at us. So the whole thing is working so well, and there's just so much information that is out there for me to give out. I said out twice, and yes, I am a Canadian. So, but with an American, what am I? I'm an American citizen as well. So there. Yeah, for me, it's been really rewarding, and I know the audience is more visual, more audio visual. So I really appreciate being able to do this, and I thank you, Ginny, for forcing me to do it.
Well, I'll tell you what, everybody's so happy that you're here, and all of our regulars and our newbies. Presley Alford popped in tonight. Presley's been with us since 2012. So we've got a lot of our new people that are just joining us on X. Our audience goes up every single week. Please post and share the replay of this on your feed at X. And all of our YouTubers and all of our regulars, thank you again for being with us. Help us build our audience and get this information out. You know how important it is.
Okay, so let's give them the heart, Jenny.
There's the heart.
You have been listening to Dr. Carolyn Dean, the doctor of the future. Become a member of drcarolyndean.com and get access to all her leading edge of creation information, as well as archives, webinars, and other valuable media resources. Join Dr. Dean and Ginny Almighty same time again next week.